Welcome to the Teninet Indigenous Wisdom Research Center. I am your host, Author Teninet Setegn. In this broadcast series, we explore the profound mysteries within our research. Ethiopian esoteric philosophy and alchemy. Our journey into channeling hidden wisdom begins now.
So if you are listening to this right now on your morning commute, or maybe, I don't know, you're walking through a busy grocery store, I want you to just look around for a second.
Yeah, just take in the crowds.
Right. Look at the crowds, look at the traffic, and ask yourself a deeply fundamental question about your own nature. Like, are you actually an individual?
Oh, that is the big one.
It really is. I mean, when you look in the mirror, are you a solitary, independent spark of consciousness? Or despite your personal hobbies and, your highly specific coffee order, are you fundamentally just a node in this vast, sprawling collective?
Right, like a single ant in a very complicated colony.
Exactly, or like one bird in a massive flock.
It really is the ultimate question of human identity. I mean, are we the ones driving the car, or are we just, a highly complex cog in a much larger engine?
And that tension, that feeling of acting like a main character but maybe just being an extra in a crowd is the absolute perfect place for us to start today.
It absolutely is.
Because today we are embarking on a very specific mission. We are unpacking the first core principle of the Addmesh philosophy.
Yes, and we should probably give some context on that for the listener.
Definitely. So for everyone listening, we are drawing directly from the archives of Author Teninet Setegn. He is the founder of the Teninet Indigenous Wisdom Research Center.
Right.
And in fact, this deep dive is an official project of the center. It is designed specifically to take this profound indigenous wisdom and, bring it directly to you.
And I just have to say, it is a remarkable body of work. I mean, Setegn has spent decades synthesizing these really ancient philosophical structures into what is essentially the Addmesh framework.
Yeah, it's a massive undertaking.
It really is. And what we are exploring today isn't just abstract theory. We are looking at a comprehensive blueprint of how human consciousness is actually organized.
Right.
How it evolved over millions of years, and the invisible forces that are currently battling for control over it right now.
Okay, let's unpack this, because our roadmap for this journey is going to take us way back. First, we are going to explore our group-based collective origins.
Way, way back.
Yeah, exactly. Then we will map out the 7 distinct levels of human organization. And finally, we're going to look at 3 very specific lineages of consciousness that are actively wrestling for the center of power in our modern governments and religions.
To really grasp the magnitude of this, we have to rewind the clock significantly.
Like, how far are we talking?
Well, Seeding's early recordings, specifically the audio archive titled Project 2 Recording 1, ask us to look at humanity's origins long before the concept of the individual even existed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. The text states that for roughly 6 million years, primal humans, hominids, lived a purely collective, group-based existence upon the Earth.
Wait, 6 million years of just the group, like no individuals at all?
Essentially, yes. The source material draws a really helpful comparison to the animal kingdom to kind of illustrate the mechanics of this.
Okay, lay it on me.
Think about how a troop of baboons functions, or how lions operate entirely within the structure of a pride.
Right, like a hive mind almost.
Exactly. A single baboon doesn't wander off to, find itself or develop a personal philosophy. Its entire existence, its safety, its daily purpose is inextricably bound to the physical and social unit of the collective.
That makes sense.
And for 6 million years, that was the baseline human experience. We operated strictly within this physical, earthly organization.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there and just push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
Because 6 million years of just being pack animals. What about things like early cave paintings or, ancient burial sites?
Ah, right. The cultural markers.
Yeah. Don't anthropologists usually point to those things and say, aha, art, religion, that's the spark of the individual? Doesn't that show we weren't just biological automatons?
Yeah, it is a very common assumption.
Yeah.
But the Addmesh framework makes a crucial distinction here between the soul and the spirit.
Okay, I'm listening.
In this philosophy, the soul represents the animating life force and basic intellect. So it allows for complex survival strategies, basic emotional bonds, and yes, even tribal rituals like burials.
Right.
But those rituals were entirely about preserving the cohesion and survival of the group.
Ah, I see.
The tribe mourning a loss is still just the tribe acting as one single organism. It was not an individualized divine connection, That purely collective earthbound existence was the default state.
So we had a soul, meaning basic intellect and life force, but we were still effectively operating like a highly advanced hive mind, just surviving, breeding, defending territory.
Correct. Up until a massive paradigm shift occurred roughly 7,000 years ago.
Right, and this is where it gets totally wild. That shift is marked by the arrival of a figure known in the text as Kaz, alongside a primordial counterpart named Ernak.
Yes.
And what Kaz introduces to the earthly realm is described as life, but with a capital L.
Exactly. It's not just biological life anymore.
No, it's a spirit of sonship. Suddenly, a human being possessed not just a body and a soul, but a spirit that could connect directly on an individual basis to the unseen celestial world.
And what's fascinating here is that this is the defining rupture in human history.
It really is a huge break.
Yeah, Ernak and Kazan represent the introduction of a completely new element to the earthly equation. For the first time, there is the potential for a human being to transcend the collective troop and establish a direct one-on-one bond with cosmic truth.
Okay, let me see if I can translate this into a way my modern brain can actually handle.
Sure, give it a shot.
Is this basically like humanity suddenly receiving a new operating system? Like for 6 million years, we were all just hardwired together playing on a local network, right? Running Survival Collective 1.0.
I love that analogy.
And then Kazan arrives and downloads this new OS that suddenly gives every individual their own direct Wi-Fi connection to the divine. Like we didn't have to plug into the tribe's router anymore.
That operating system analogy is actually a brilliant way to look at the mechanics of what happened. Because Kazan Rival didn't delete the old operating system.
Oh, it didn't?
No, it introduced a new one that runs concurrently. And that created a profound structural tension that dictates almost every aspect of human life today.
So they are running at the same time. That sounds exhausting.
It is. We are constantly torn between the safety and biological comfort of our collective pack animal origins and the terrifying, liberating freedom of our individual spiritual potential.
Which brings us perfectly to how we manage that tension in our daily lives. Because if we are running two conflicting operating systems, how do we even function?
We have to build structures to handle it.
Exactly. And that leads us to the architecture of human organization.
Yes, the Addmesh texts lay this architecture out through a very specific framework. We are talking about the 7 hierarchical pillars or levels of human organization and consciousness.
The 7 levels.
Right. These are the structures humanity built to manage existence, and they operate in a strict progression of honor and power.
Let's break these down, but rather than just listing them out like a textbook, help me understand how a person naturally progresses through them. Like, where do we actually start?
Well, the ground floor, level 1, is the individual.
Okay, makes sense.
But keep in mind, in this specific framework, this isn't the enlightened spiritual individual we were just talking about. This is the physical person restricted purely to personal thoughts, basic biological needs, and daily survival.
Right. The single ant just looking for a crumb.
Exactly.
Right.
But an individual can't survive long alone, so biology naturally forces us into level 2, which is the family or clan.
The safety net.
Yeah. This level is bound by blood ties and genetics. It basically acts as an umbrella over the individual. Your personal needs are now subsumed by the needs of your family.
Okay, sure.
But families grow, they bump into other families, and they need to share resources. That necessitates level 3, which is the community or society. This groups families together based on shared geography and social contracts.
Okay, so individual, family, community. I mean, that feels very rooted in that primal 6 million year old physical survival structure.
It absolutely is.
It's just scaling up the troop, basically.
It is. But geography eventually creates hard borders, right? And that forces the transition into level 4, the nation state or country.
Okay, getting bigger.
Yeah, this is where geopolitical boundaries, large-scale laws, and earthly authorities take overarching control of various communities.
But the nation state isn't the top of the food chain, which is so fascinating to me. Level 5 crosses the boundary from purely physical into religion.
Yes, level 5 is religion.
And just to be clear for everyone, this level isn't about direct divine connection yet. It's actually about shared information.
Right. It unites massive groups of people across different nation-states through texts, physical doctrines, bodily honor, and moral codes.
Let's look at the mechanism of why religion sits above the nation-state, because that might confuse some people.
Sure, it's an important distinction. Imagine two soldiers from warring countries. They are told by their level 4 nation-states to kill each other.
Right?
But they both follow the same level 5 religion, which says killing is a sin. If they lower their weapons, level 5 has just overridden level 4. The shared information of the religion holds more power than the geopolitical border.
Wow, yeah. Here's where it gets really interesting. You can't just view these levels as steps on a ladder. You really have to picture them like Russian nesting dolls.
Oh, that is a great visual.
Yeah, because each level entirely encompasses, surrounds, and essentially rules the dolls inside of it. If your whole identity is bound by your country and its politics, which is level 4, you are just a smaller doll.
You're trapped inside the bigger ones.
Exactly. You are entirely at the mercy of the religion doll that encapsulates your world. Even if you don't personally consider yourself religious, those moral frameworks built the very laws of your nation.
That nesting doll concept perfectly illustrates the mechanics of control described in the research center's texts. So let's keep going.
What's next? Level 6.
Yes, level 6 is spirituality, and this operates above organized religion. While religion relies on physical texts and visible institutions, spirituality deals with the veiled earthly world.
The veiled world.
Yeah, the unseen hierarchies, the hidden spiritual forces, and the actual unseen mechanics of reality that standard religions only talk about symbolically.
Okay, that is deep. And above all of that, what is the biggest doll?
The highest rank, level 7, is wisdom.
Wisdom.
Right. Wisdom bridges the physical earthly world directly with the celestial divine world. It bypasses those veiled spiritual hierarchies entirely. It operates above all earthly laws, bringing every single lower level completely under its shade.
So if you are listening to this right now, I want you to just think about those nesting dolls.
Yeah.
Where do you spend most of your daily mental energy?
It's a tough question to ask yourself.
It really is. Are you trapped down at the individual or family level, just grinding out daily survival? Or are you consumed by the nation-state level, endlessly fighting with strangers on the internet over political borders?
Right, because if you aren't operating at the higher levels, someone else is definitely operating them for you.
Which brings us to the most vital question of this entire deep dive. If there are 7 levels to reality, who is actually building these dolls? Like, who is running the show?
According to the Addmesh philosophy, to answer that, we have to look at the 3 lineages of consciousness that emerge from Kaz and Ernik.
Okay, the 3 lineages.
Yes. These are the 3 fundamental pathways that dictate how human beings interact with truth. They are called Mormorios, Taos, and Durgian.
Let's examine how each of these operates, because they are very different. Let's start with Mormorios.
Good place to start. This lineage represents the primal human nature anchored in the material world. They are strictly focused on physical history and information.
So very tangible things.
Exactly. They operate very comfortably at the 5th level, which is religion. But the key mechanism here is that they rely entirely on written doctrines, physical texts, and historical data, rather than any direct spiritual connection. They are the administrators. They basically build the physical systems.
They need the physical proof, right? They are the ones who say, if it isn't written down in this specific book, or if we don't have a grand building for it, it just doesn't exist.
Yes, they are the builders of the visible world. Then you have the second lineage, which is Taos.
Okay, good tell.
Taos is born of the flesh, but is deeply spiritually connected to the veiled earthly realm. So they operate at the 6th level, spirituality.
Above religion.
Right. The Taos lineage understands that the unseen world holds power over the physical world, but their defining characteristic is that they rely on systems of worship, sacrifice, and very strict, rigid hierarchies to control those unseen forces. They use spirituality to rule.
Okay, wait, let me clarify something about these lineages before we move on to the third one. When you say Mormorios, Taos, and Durgian, are these literal physical bloodlines? Like, if I sent my saliva to a genetic lab, would the results come back saying I'm I don't know, 30% more Morios and 60% Taos?
No, no. And that is a crucial distinction to make. While the texts do trace these back to distinct ancestral origins stemming from Kas, today they manifest primarily as blueprints of consciousness.
Oh, okay.
Remember our operating system analogy from earlier?
Yes, Survival 1.0 versus the direct Wi-Fi.
Right. These are the distinct operating systems you can choose to run. They represent how you, as a human being today, process reality and truth.
Okay, I get it now. So if Mormorios builds the physical institutions and Taos rules through these unseen spiritual hierarchies, what does the third lineage do? What exactly is Durgyan?
The Durgyan lineage is born of the undivided primordial unity of Khans. They operate at the absolute highest tier, the 7th level wisdom.
The big doll.
The biggest one. And unlike Taos, Durgyan does not use sacrificial systems. They don't demand you surrender your autonomy to a hierarchy. Their entire goal is direct divine union and living truth.
Wow.
Yeah, they bypass the veiled earthly forces of level 6 entirely and connect straight to the celestial.
So what does this all mean for us right now, just walking around in our modern society? Because these three lineages aren't just ancient history, right?
Not at all.
According to Setein's text, they are actively manipulating the modern structures we live in every single day.
They are essentially the invisible architects of our reality. This becomes incredibly clear when we look at how the lineages interact with the nation-state and religion levels today.
Okay, break that down for me.
Well, the Mormorio's consciousness is what builds the visible physical structures of our standard governments and religious institutions. They are the ones writing the legislation, building the courthouses, and printing the religious texts. They hold earthly power through visible administration.
Okay, so they build the stage, they set up the lighting, they print the scripts, but they aren't the actual directors of the play.
No, the directors are operating from the level above. The Paus lineage operates behind the scenes at the 6th level. According to Project 2, Recording 1, and broader Addmesh texts, for the last 700 years, what are described as spiritual lords operating on the Taos blueprint have secretly guided massive governments and religious institutions.
Okay, now I have to pause here for a second.
Yeah.
Because whenever we start talking about invisible lords secretly manipulating governments for 700 years, it sounds exactly like the kind of wild political conspiracy theories that completely dominate the internet right now.
It really does sound like that, yeah.
So just to be completely clear for everyone listening, Teninet Setegn's texts aren't taking shots at modern political parties, right? Like, we aren't talking about the upcoming election or endorsing a specific earthly institution here.
I am so glad you brought that up, because it is vital to keep our lens focused. We are objectively reporting the philosophical frameworks as laid out by the Teninet Center.
Right. It's philosophy.
Exactly. This analysis of government, religion, and spiritual control is a philosophical blueprint for understanding the mechanics of human consciousness over millennia. It is completely, entirely detached from modern political tribalism, whether that's left-wing or right-wing.
Got it.
We're looking at the foundational code of reality, not the daily news cycle.
Perfect. So looking at that foundational code, how exactly has Taos maintained this 700-year hidden rule? Like, what is their actual mechanism of control?
It all comes back to the nesting dolls. Because Taos operates on hierarchy and sacrifice, their strategy is to intentionally obscure the 7th level, which is the path of wisdom.
Oh, they hide the biggest doll.
Exactly. They want to prevent humanity from reaching that ultimate liberation. So they replace the pursuit of true wisdom with their own sacrificial systems, rigid religious laws, and hierarchical worship structure.
So they keep us busy.
Yes. Their goal is to keep human consciousness endlessly distracted and subservient, locked very comfortably within the level 4 and level 5 dolls.
They want us stuck arguing about border disputes at the nation-state level, or fighting over whose physical religious text is the most historically accurate at level 5, so we never look up and realize they're pulling the strings from level 6.
Precisely. It is a brilliant, if restrictive, system. But Durgyan approaches governance and reality entirely differently.
Right, the third lineage.
Yes, the Durgyan lineage seeks the center of power as well, but their motive is entirely inverted. They do not want to rule over subjects.
They don't.
No. They want to grant humanity absolute freedom and victory. They seek to govern through perfect, living harmony with the celestial world, rather than forcing humans to bow down to restrictive earthly laws and unseen spiritual lords.
The tug of war is incredibly clear when you lay it out like this. I mean, you have Taos trying to keep the lid on the box, basically demanding sacrifice and obedience.
Exactly.
And then you have Durgyan trying to blow the box wide open so humanity can step into total, unmediated freedom.
It really is a battle.
It is a battle between the comforting safety of subservience and the terrifying responsibility of ultimate freedom. And that battle is happening right now within the institutions that govern your life and within the way you process your own reality.
We have covered an immense amount of ground today. I mean, we started 6 million years ago looking at primal humanity living in collective, purely biological packs.
Yeah, the baboon phase.
Right. And then we explored the massive paradigm shift of Kazan introducing the individual spirit. We walked through the 7 Russian nesting dolls of human consciousness, from the physical individual all the way up to celestial wisdom.
And we examine this ongoing, invisible architectural war between the information-obsessed Mormorios, the hierarchical Taos, and the liberating Durgian lineages.
Which brings this entire deep dive directly back to you, the listener. You are operating within these 7 levels every single day.
So the question you really have to ask yourself when you wake up tomorrow is, which lineage's blueprint are you using to build your life?
That is the ultimate question.
Are you relying entirely on physical information, material proof, and societal rules like the Mormorios? Are you giving your power away to rigid hierarchies and external authorities like the Taos? Or are you seeking living truth and a direct, unmediated connection to wisdom, like the Durgian?
Which operating system are you actually choosing to run? And this raises an important question, something that the Addmesh texts point toward, but kind of leave for us to truly grapple with.
Oh, I love these. What is it?
Well, the texts state that the 7th level, the highest level of wisdom that the Durgian lineage strives for, operates entirely without laws.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no written codes, no restrictive rules, no hierarchical punishments, just living enacted truth.
Wait, a society with 0 laws? None at all.
If the Durgian lineage ultimately succeeds in their mission, and they bring humanity out of the smaller nesting dolls and up to that 7th level of wisdom, what would a human society that functions perfectly without a single written law actually look like?
I can't even picture it.
Could our modern minds, which have been so deeply conditioned for centuries by the Tao systems of rules, punishments, and hierarchies, even begin to comprehend that level of absolute freedom?
That is a staggering thought to walk away with. Just imagine a society functioning flawlessly, not because of the threat of a courthouse or a spiritual lord, but through pure, harmonious wisdom.
It is definitely something to mull over.
It really is. Well, I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the archives of the Teninet Indigenous Wisdom Research Center. Keep questioning the structures around you. Keep exploring those unseen layers of reality.
And keep looking up.
Absolutely. And remember, the next time you are stuck in traffic or you see a massive flock of birds moving across the sky, ask yourself, are you just a node in the collective? Or are you finally ready to break formation?